for one of our agents who's getting ready to take a listing, and I thought this would be a great opportunity to record this for future reference when you are taking a listing. This is a blank listing agreement, and I'm going to go through this step by step on how to fill this out. So really, it's a plug and play form. It's really not too difficult. What you do is you fill out every single blank. So I'm going to do that with you right now. So as a seller, we're going to look at who owns the property. We want to make sure we get the person who's on title. So I'm going to start by going to the Manatee County Assessor and looking up the address for one of our agents. Now all this is public record. None of this is proprietary information. You can do this absolutely anywhere, and it's a pretty straightforward shot. So as I've said in other videos, what I'm doing right here is I'm actually going to the county appraiser or county assessor's office, and I'm looking up information. So I'm going to put an address in and see what pops up. Okay, so we're looking for 4320 56th Terrace Avenue East. So I believe this is it right here. Perfect. And now you're going to get a ton of information on the house, which is awesome. So this is my agent's potential new listing, and I'm going to start by using this as a reference for my file. So what I'm going to do is do a little split screen action, kind of a split screen deal here, and start filling this out for him. So I don't know the date yet of the listing. You have like, I think it's 48 hours to get this put into the MLS. So I'm just going to put this out for like, a Tuesday of next week type of date. And it could be changed, obviously, but I'm going to put this out for like just a couple of days to get photography in. Actually, I'm going to do it for Wednesday. So I'm going to say 4/23/19. This gives us a couple of days. I'd like to see 6 month listing. So that puts me at 10/23/19. I'm going to put the street address in. Okay, so a lot of this can just be copy and pasted. Command C if you're on a Mac. Command V, copy and paste. Legal description. So a lot of times the best thing to do is go to a former deed, not the actual legal. Like some people will just take the short legal description. You really want the full legal. So you'll go here and you'll go to Manatee County Recorder, and we'll look up the former records, the actual deed, okay? Because that's a little bit more formal of a document. So I'm gonna pop into official records here, see if I can't catch a deed that was recorded. So I'm gonna take the person's name, and I'm gonna check it. And again, this is all public record, so there's nothing we're doing here that's proprietary and last, middle, last, and first. Okay. To see what records we've got in the last 10 years. And I see that there's an affidavit, I see that there's a Home Performance Alliance, notice of commencement. What I'm going to do is go back a little further. I'm going to take this back to 1800. Now, obviously, maybe that's too far. You see what's going on. So there's mortgages and satisfactions. I want to try to see a deed. Here we go. This looks like it's the deed. Click on the deed, and now I'm going to have the legal description on the deed. So this is the legal. I can't copy and paste this, so I'm gonna save the time of not actually writing this in. But as you can see, what you do is you literally handwrite this in. For purposes of the video, I'm not going to take the time to do that. Personal property, including appliances. I really suggest you don't get into the furniture brokerage business. It's a nightmare. I like keeping things clean. Keep it at the house. Don't start getting into personal property. This property is not currently occupied by a tenant. If it was, you'd note the lease terms. The price, we're going to leave this off for now. We're going to always take cash and conventional. I don't see why people wouldn't work with FHA unless the house is an utter disaster. Many times FHA loans go through, and I hate seeing people turn down FHA and VA just because the inspection is a little more arduous. So I always recommend getting FHA and VA. Seller will not consider financing, and we're not going to get into assumptions of existing mortgages. It's just such a rare thing. You pretty much don't need to fill any of this out. Okay. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to go into broker authority. Selecting opt-outs. If people don't want their property displayed on the internet, the house probably will not sell. So we're going to leave that blank, and we're going to leave this blank as well. We want this house on the internet. Next thing we're going to do is we are going to use a lockbox system. This is negotiable. Are we going to withhold verbal offers, or are we going to withhold all offers once seller accepts a sale? Totally up to you guys. Not a major point of contention in my experience. I would say let's withhold all offers once the seller accepts the contract. If you didn't want more offers, if you wanted backups, you would leave this blank. Withhold verbal offers. I like seeing things in writing, but I'll leave them both off for now. Meaning, we can take backups and we can take verbal offers. If you don't want things on like Zillow and AVMs, you'd have to select this, third-party comments and AVMs. I don't want to see this house not on the Zillow website, so we're going to leave that off for now. Make all legally required disclosures. There's nothing in particular we know at this point. Now I want to get into kind of like the meat of the listing agreement. Everybody asks me, where do I put the percentages? And here is the million-dollar question. So let's say that you're going to do a 6% commission, and you wanted your client to pay the $299 trend transaction fee. This is how you fill it out. You're almost never going to do B, which is an option contract. And you're probably not going to do C, which is a lease. If you wanted to do a lease, if they would said, hey, sell it or rent it, you put your term in here. Maybe you want 12% of the gross value of the lease. But this is where you fill that information out. 8A is the total commission. Okay, so we're going to go with 6% plus $299 transaction fee. You can pay that $299 for them. You can let them pay that. That's brokerage's charge. So if within X amount of days after termination, seller transfers the interest of the property, they're owed a fee. Okay, I'm going to leave that blank as to the 50% as well. Section 9 is what you're offering out as a cooperative commission, meaning the other side. So I'm going to say we're going to pay 3%. If somebody's a single agent, we're going to pay 3%. If they're a transaction broker, we're going to pay 3%. And if they're no brokerage relationship, we're going to pay them 0%. Okay? 330, 331, whatever you'd like. We are not a single agent. Okay? I'm really not a fan of the single agency. So we're going to go right to transaction broker. Okay, we're going to go right to transaction broker. I'm going to have them sign this portion. Termination fee, you're going to have photos, guys. You're going to be, installing lock boxes. I love seeing cancellation fees. $595, $399, $1,000, whatever you think your overhead's going to be. People sometimes flake. So I love seeing cancellation fees. Now, getting the money from the people if they cancel might be difficult, but I love seeing it in there. It's just a protection for you. You're coming up with money to advertise properties. You're starting the process. So I'd love to see some sort of a cancellation fee. From there, any additional terms will be spelled out here. Again, do not get in the business of practicing law. I don't want to see you drafting a whole bunch of stuff here. If there's some, extenuating circumstance, you want to get with an attorney to draft any verbiage. Maybe there's an addendum you want to do. But as far as additional terms, I'd leave it blank or very non-legal. Don't get into legal things. From there, you're going to put in the telephone number, the address of the seller. Very simple stuff here, email address. Again, fill this out, guys. We want to see this filled out. And then this is in my transaction desk, so you see my information here. But that is the gist of it, guys. I have filled this out pretty well. This is other than the legal. But this is an example of a listing agreement filled out pretty thoroughly. If you have more questions, obviously feel free to give me a call anytime. But remember, if you have transaction desk questions, There's a helpline right over here. You can click on this question mark, and there's a support line, there's a support number, there's a chat, there's an email. It's very, very simple. That's a transaction desk issue. Like, I can't get this thing to click, I can't get this thing to sign. You'd call them for that. If you have a legal or brokerage level question, you'll call me. If it's above my pay grade, I'll reach out to my attorney. But I would always state, go ahead if you have like, hey Josh, what do I, they want to do this for 5. How would you recommend, questions on the process, questions on the contract, call me. Questions on transaction desk, call the help desk. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. This is a pretty short video. It's a pretty simple form to fill out, to be honest with you. I will close by stating you always want to go in here and note that you've given either a personal delivery or email or whatever for the contract. But again, remember, from here you just go through Authentisign, and basically you will click on the signing. We're going to be leaving the file here and into Authentisign. I've done Authentisign videos in the past, so I'm not going to spend too much time on this. But from here, everything is pretty much filled out. So I'm going to create participants. I'm going to add a participant. I'm going to click on add, and I'm going to put their information in here. I'm going to put the seller's name in here. So it would be, okay? And then I put his email in, put an email in. This is just auto-populating for whatever purposes. I'm going to add that in. Then I'm going to click, I'm going to call him seller. And then I'm going to design the file. Now, Transaction Desk is a really awesome system where everything should be pre-designated for you, meaning initial, 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 initial. It's all here. It's all already here. The one thing I do want to note is that I don't see a signature here for the transition to transaction broker. So this is a good little tip. Drag, sign, boom. Drag and drop, date, boom. We're done. Very simple. The process is very similar for additional stuff, but this is it. So if you're doing this by pen and paper, I've just showed you how to do it. You can fill these out with literally a pen and a piece of paper. And from here, again, you just click next, and then it'll be sent out. But I'm going to go back for purposes of sorry. So everything we've shown here is how to use Transaction Desk, as well as how to fill out the listing agreement. Again, if you have questions on the brokerage level or on the legal level, please always give me a call. I love working with new agents. I love working with existing agents. I love my trend agents. It's the joy of my life to be able to do this job. I really thoroughly enjoy it. If you have a Transaction Desk question, please save those for Wednesday trainings, and or call the help desk here. If you click here, you will note a 1-800 number, an email, and a chat. And they walk you through anything Transaction Desk has. Thanks so much for tuning in, guys. I really have enjoyed working with